Well, Ben, it's a big day for the state of Georgia with the runoff election finally deciding who will take that last Senate seat. This is the scene today. I'm going to step out of the frame so you can kind of see it, but Halftime Liquors employees assessing the damage from that night.
You're also following a big shakeup that could affect the 2024 election. How is that Democratic National Committee changing the primary process? This shooting happened just before midnight, according to TPD, and officers were working to control crowds when shots rang out along West Pensacola Street.
Well, Julie, after several sweeps of the campus, officials say they found no signs of a shooter. Then officials say with any weather event, residents should not take the opportunity to prepare lightly. It was a tragic situation where TPD says a suspect walked up to these courts during a crowded game where dozens of people were looking on as well and just began shooting into the crowd.
Speaking of Christmas, we're going to turn things over to meteorologist Charles Rube, who this morning it felt a little like those Christmas vibes finally.
Yeah, finally.
The season. Jaclyn Harold has scored another great assignment tonight. She is live in downtown Thomasville.
I'm not bitter that I didn't receive my FAMU acceptance letter the same way.
30-year-old Darius Cannon found not guilty of second-degree murder, but guilty of attempted manslaughter. A jury in deliberation a little more than 5 hours yesterday.
And authorities have not disclosed a motive for the shooting rampage. Police say a 15-year-old male went on Thursday that left 5 people dead, including the alleged shooter's brother. FAMU has been under much scrutiny the past few months following a housing crisis and issues with compliance for athletes. However, President Robinson says the leadership changes announced today are just another step in ongoing improvements.
The Thomas County Sheriff's Office says it now believes the 2 older brothers carried out 16 armed robberies and 2 burglaries. Our Jaclyn Harold joins us live in Thomas County. And Jaclyn explained how they were able to piece all of these parts together.
Well, Ben, Abby Tamoris and Montavious are suspected of all of those crimes. Investigators say the younger brother acted as a getaway driver for at least 2. Residents tell me that part of the reason why they moved to the Savoy apartments is because of the rave reviews about safety. However, last night as gunfire rang out in their complex, they tell me that they feared for their lives. Now, the Tallahassee Police Department says the gunfire killed a 17-year-old young woman. The second victim was shot and suffered minor injuries. She was 18. A tenant told me they got in from the gym a little after 1 this morning, and they say just a few minutes into their home, they heard what sounded like a machine gun going off outside, followed by a woman screaming for help and then silence. Several residents say they've only lived in the complex a few months, never expecting something like this to happen just outside their door. Now, Byrd says when it comes to voter eligibility, he recommends using provisional ballots. That way, voters and the elections office has more time to verify that eligibility before actually casting and counting those votes.
Valdosta High School, one of the schools receiving a threat, sending parents into a panic.
The school later released a statement calling it an elaborate hoax. Our Jaclyn Harold has been there all day outside the school and joins us right now with more information. Jaclyn.
Well, Ben, Julie, I'm told that law enforcement received information around 10 this morning of an active shooter threat at Valdosta High School. Now, while in fact it was a hoax, their response to the school and the fear of the unknown for many parents was very real.
Let them out of there.
Parents in disarray as law enforcement responds to reports of an active shooter threat at Valdosta High School.
School immediately went into lockdown here at Valdosta High School, and they responded and conducted a sweep of the building.
Only to discover that threat was actually a hoax.
We're not able to find any substantiated acts of violence on our campus.
First I thought it was fake, like we were just doing another practice, but then I saw the post on Instagram.
Sabrina Smith with Valdosta City Schools says the high school ironically held an active shooter drill the day before. So many students say they didn't really take the threat seriously to begin with. But while they sat on lockdown following protocols, their parents sat outside the gates in fear.
Call from the school that they're not letting anyone in or out. So that's when what should I do? My wife called me and said that, she heard it was a hoax, but then 5 minutes later, pictures start showing up of two people getting arrested.
Nick Blair says he's happy his daughter and all the students at the high school are safe and that this was not a real situation. However, he says he believes it's a lesson to the high school to communicate better with parents to avoid chaos all around. Now, similar threats were made across Georgia at other schools, including in Savannah, prompting Governor Kemp to make a statement on Twitter where he says the FBI is actively investigating these threats. And he also says, quote, "Rest assured for the criminals who orchestrated these hoaxes, we will go after them with every single resource available." Live in Valdosta, Jaclyn Harold, WCTV Eyewitness News.